there is no drummer better than Neil Peart.
It ain't easy being cheesy.
And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. With your host, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice. This is the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity, and welcome one and all to a very special episode 310, the Packers edition of your 12th Man Fan Jam show, the show made up of Seahawk fans from around the world just like you, talking about your Seattle Seahawks. Over the next few moments we share together, we hope that you are entertained as we discuss your Seattle Seahawks as they prepare to take on the Green Bay Packers. So sit back, relax, grab a desired beverage or sin of your choice, and remember this week, it's not easy being cheesy. As is the usual with every show, we are not alone. We are joined, like we are every episode, by the 12th Man Fan Jam Posse, a ragtag group of diehard Seahawk fans from around the world. First, from the state of Washington, our very own news hound. His 12th Man editorials can be found on the SeahawksSal.com website. He's always packing in the news. You know him as Shadowhawk, and of course, we know him as Will. Hi, Will.
Evening, Moses. I had a bit of an epiphany just now about how to solve all of Seattle's problems.
Do share.
Well, we give Cam Chancellor the extra money he wants on the condition that he plays safety and offensive line, because judging by his Twitter account, that man can block anybody.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And he does, and he will, I've noticed. But we're going to try to stay as cam-free as possible. But yes, I agree with that. He's a better blocker than half the offensive line. Another good blocker from the state of California, just up the road from 49er headquarters, our own man behind enemy lines. He is darker than the 49er alternate uniforms. You know him as Zorn76. We know him as Statsman Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey everybody, there was supposed to be a Vikings sighting last week, but I didn't see any.
I think they stayed in Minnesota for some reason. Very sad.
Gone ice fishing.
Yeah, apparently. Someone who I don't think has ever gone ice fishing, but he might have. And back from an absence where he sold volcano insurance to residents living near Mount Rainier, please give a hearty welcome back to X-Ray Hawk to some, but we call him Dustin. Welcome back, Dustin.
Thank you, sir, and you're absolutely correct. I've never been ice fishing. Matter of fact, I don't do much of that at all, so any type of fishing. I just went to my girlfriend's house instead of going fishing with my parents. So
yeah, I understand that. Or, I would go out and just sit in the boat. I wouldn't even fish. I'd just sit in the boat for an hour and come back. And I understand that. Sadly, you may notice my partner in crime, Matt, from merry old England, is not with us this week. He had to go to Buckingham Palace and straighten out the Queen. So as soon as he gets back, I'm sure he'll be back for next week's episode. Well, guys, it isn't easy moving on from an amazing overtime defeat, but I think we can press on. So let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? For those who have listened before, thank you for joining us again. And for those who are listening for the very first time, don't worry. We promise we'll be gentle, but be careful. Matt may be lurking somewhere. Waiting. Lurking. The shows aren't just like a real... I got drama right there. The shows aren't just like a real NFL football game. We have 4 quarters and even a halftime. In our first quarter, we'll share all the news around the NFL. In the second quarter, we will recap that Rams game, try to do it as quickly, painfully as possible. We also have a special caption, that picture, in the second quarter. And the 2-minute warning before halftime, we will take a look back at how the posse did on our predictions, prognostication, and game balls from last week. Halftime, we have a special Seahawk Positivity blessing from the Reverend. The Reverend Moses will conduct a little church. Third quarter, the second half kicks off with, of course, our drink of the week, our injuries, stats, and lines about the Green Bay Packers and Seattle Seahawks. And then, of course, quarter 4 ends with our predictions, prognostication, and game balls in the game between your Seattle Seahawks and those Green Bay Packers. But before we start, we'd like to once again remind you, share, like, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Contact us on this thread or on the comments section of this video for feedback. Email us at 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com. Tell us what you think. Join our Facebook group, 12th Man Fan Jam Show Facebook group. Lots of Seahawk discussions and fun there and little inside pictures. All of our shows, outtakes are posted there. Come on, join the fun. We're also on Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Let us know your thoughts there. And now it's time to get to the first quarter and news. Yes, news from around the NFL while you are out sending money to Cam Chancellor GoFundMe pages. Here's our 12th man Fan Jam News Hound Shadow Will with the news. Brought to you by a sponsor, the Seattle Seahawks Cheese Grater. Need your cheese grated to a pulp? The Seahawk Cheese Grater is for you. Made from the toughest materials around, the Seattle Seahawk Cheese Grater will turn your cheese into a pile of dust in no time. Get the grater that's greater. Get the Seattle Seahawk Cheese Grater. What you got for us, Will?
Hang on a second. I'm ordering that on Amazon.
Well, hey, wait a minute. I got a story real quick before you do that.
Okay.
Then. You know, what I do for a living is I'm an educator, and I work with, shall we say, the more interesting characters in your local middle schools. And I have a 7th grade student. It's a true story. It happened today. He was working on a word search, and he came up to me, and he pointed at a word, and he said, "What's this word?" And I said, "That's generals." He goes, "Generals?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What's that mean?" I said, "Well, like if you're a general, you're in charge of the army." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he kept looking at it. He goes, "How come I thought it was dirty?" I said, "Did you think it was genitals?" And he grinned and he said, "Yeah." I said, "It's not. It's generals." So that's how my day went today. But enough of that. Will, what do you got for us? Did you order Amazon? Is it still there?
Make sure you use Prime so the shipping is free.
Yeah.
Yep. Amazon Prime, one-click shipping. I got this. Don't worry.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll have to share that with you sometime. What's your first story this evening?
Well, Moses, maybe it's just me, but if I was quarterbacking a team that hasn't had a winning record since George Bush was president, was a near constant threat to leave, I don't think I'd be criticizing my own fans. But Jaguars quarterback Blake Bortles apparently feels differently from me. Apparently, Jaguars fans have been criticizing the team's play calling after their loss last Sunday. And I don't know about you, but I have no idea what that would be like. But anyway, in his press conference this week, somebody asked Bortles what he thought about fans saying that the Jaguars' play calling needs to get better. Bortles didn't take too kindly to that. He said, quote, "I don't know. It's like a kindergartner saying something to a college kid."
Ooh. That kindergarten's got some money that he wants to spend on those college kids.
Yeah, those kindergartners are paying his salary. So,
exactly.
Bortles, jury's still out on him. Maybe a great NFL quarterback, but he needs to learn not to bite the hand that feeds him.
Wow. Yeah, especially, Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing. Kindergartners learn math. And they know when the score isn't what it should be because they're not getting points added together, they know something is wrong. So I can't diss on the kindergartner for knowing math. Bortles should look into it.
Can't you see the fans like throwing like binkies on the floor on the field when they're playing next time? They'll throw like binkies out there or whatever. God,
they should.
Kindergartners. Mark, how do you feel about that remark about kindergartners?
Yeah, the kids just call them like they see them, don't they, kids?
Yep.
Well, apparently most of those kindergartners go to Jacksonville games disguised as empty seats, but Jacksonville loves me.
Funny, they do the same thing in St. Louis.
They do.
If nothing else, kids are brutally honest, so that's a bad comparison, I think.
Kids
will tell you the truth.
That's well said. They'll be like flicking boogers at him as he comes by. Boogers? Yeah. They'll be flicking boogers at him as they come by because they're little kindergartners. Or they'll have like little face paint, like little watercolor drawings of him or something. That's not the coolest thing he could have done. He's probably not going to live that one down anytime soon.
Mm-mm.
No. What else you got for us, Will?
Well, Moses, I love a good Rex Ryan quote. In fact, I'm of the opinion that Hard Knocks just needs to follow around Rex Ryan every year because it makes for a very good show.
I totally agree.
He had a good one this week talking about one of the matchups his defense will have to deal with, namely what to do with Rob Gronkowski. And Ryan said, and I quote, "There's no question about it, but you just don't want to make him go crazy on you with 3 touchdowns. Obviously, you're trying like hell to eliminate that. But is he as big a challenge as you'll face in the league at tight end? Absolutely he is. We're not going to ask one guy, hey, this is your guy. Shoot, he'd have to look like King Kong or something. You got him. You got the Gronk. Put Kong on him. So anyway, Gronkowski was asked later about Rex Ryan's comments, and his answer was, quote, "Like I said, you got to prepare for anyone." Patriots defensive back Devin McCourty, however, says he has confidence in Gronk. He says he believes King Kong might struggle in a one-on-one matchup with Gronkowski. So keep an eye on the waiver wire in case Buffalo is going to make a rather interesting signing before Sunday's game.
I do have a question, if I may ask the staff here, and I'll start with Dustin. Dustin, did he just say that? Did Rex Ryan just say that he was going to put his Kong on Gronk? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to put it on his foot. I don't know if you remember. Apparently, you don't remember that story.
Oh yes, how
Yes,
did I forget the foot story?
Yep.
He's gonna
Rex
put his
Ryan and
Kong.
foot fetish are words I don't want to see in the same sentence ever again.
Well, apparently, Rex Ryan wants to put his Kong on Gronk. So I'll let y'all just kind of deal with that a little bit. Oh yeah, I love Mark. I love Rex Ryan. I think he's hysterical. I'm so glad he's not our coach, but he's entertaining, isn't he?
He is. It's just he must be harboring a fetish for Gronk himself. So.
Well, at least
That's
his
very
feet.
true. At least the feet. I don't know. I hope this isn't. I'm not going to ruin one of your stories here, but do you have another Buffalo story? Because the story I want to share real quick is, speaking of the Bills and Rex Ryan, is that I noticed today that at their pro shop, as you walk in the front door of the pro shop, they have a great big display. They're playing the Patriots. Great big display of Buffalo Bill air pumps and footballs. Right.
Yep, I did see that.
Yeah, isn't that great? That's awesome. Those guys are awesome. But
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Rex is quite a guy. I guess, saying you want to put Kong on Gronk, I'm not sure if anyone who wasn't a football fan saw that headline what they think. But
He's a little stiff in the hips, though. I don't think he could stick with Gronk.
Ooh, stiff in the hips. Ouch.
I think Rex Ryan's good for the league. He's, if nothing else, he's entertaining. He draws attention to it. And not necessarily in a negative light. He's just entertaining.
And that's true. Really, he's not. He's not like a bad guy. I don't think. He likes to have a lot of fun. I mean, and really this is entertainment. It should be fun.
But it's surprising because I didn't know that eating crow caused you to lose weight. So it's
Hey, low in
Only if you pluck the
carbs.
feathers.
Low in carbs.
Yeah, you got to pluck the feathers first.
Oh, nice. Eating crow. Lost weight.
Well, the feathers are for tickling feet, so I guess he,
Oh, never live that down. Never live that down. You all, I'm telling you. You all. Yeah, okay. All right, well, finish up. What do you got?
Well, Moses, we have some old friends that are going to be in the news again.
Oh, no. Is it Manziel?
Olsen twins?
Well, it's not Manziel, although he will be starting at quarterback on Sunday. So
Whoa.
Undoubtedly, that will be one of my news stories for next week.
I'm sure.
But nope, the folks at the Guinness Book of World Records are at it again. There is another team going for the crowd noise record.
Oh, God.
And
Jacksonville.
As if
St. Louis.
signing King Kong was not enough.
No!
As if putting air pumps in the team store was not enough. The Buffalo Bills have invited the Guinness people to try to break the Chiefs' current record of 142.2 decibels
Lord.
this Sunday.
Oh,
Wait.
my God.
Now, are they going to play at their home field in Toronto or their home field in Buffalo?
No, they stopped at Toronto. If they were playing in Toronto, they'd have to be shooting for 70 decibels. So
Hey, we got to get loud, eh? You got to talk a little louder, eh? Hey, I don't want to hurt your ears, okay?
If Buffalo does break this record, I put the over-under at 5 weeks before the Chiefs try to take it back yet again.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm
No
sorry,
doubt.
but having gone to a game there last year, that is the most thin-skinned fan base when it comes to, you don't attack their fandom, okay? It's like, we have the loudest stadium. Okay.
Who, the
I'll
Bills?
tell you
The
what, if
Chiefs,
that-
right? Yeah.
The Chiefs, yeah.
Yeah.
If that happens, the Seahawks and Chiefs just might have a scrimmage and have joint fans just so that record is not in Buffalo or does not belong.
Personally,
Oh,
I'm
dear
okay
God.
with letting anybody who has it want it. We came up with it first. We did it twice. If
There you go.
somebody else has to beat the record to prove what great fans they are, then let them have it.
I agree. Mark, back in the day, though, when Buffalo was on their way to 4 straight Super Bowls, you did not want to go through there in the playoffs
Until the Super Bowl.
until the Super Bowl. Mark?
Yeah, no, I'm
Well,
here. The Bills, man. I just, it's 20 years later, and it still hurts to think about it. Even not being a fan.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that was a really
Hell,
tough place
Moses,
to
it's
play.
Buffalo. People wouldn't want to go there anyway.
The winner of the game plays Buffalo. The loser of the game has to play Buffalo twice because they have to stay there for 2 weeks.
I tell you though, all this stuff Buffalo is doing to try to rile up New England, New England is going to win this game. It's setting up perfectly for another New England win that we all hate them for, but it's going to happen.
I think so too.
But
Yeah,
you know
probably.
what? Okay, I will say this. Rex pulled this stuff when he's with the Jets, and you look at one team the last 3 or 4 years that always gave Patriots fits. It was the Jets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Buffalo's got solid defense, so it'll be interesting to see if they're
Yeah.
competitive at least. Could be
I
an
agree.
interesting game.
but Rex had Mark Sanchez. That's why.
Damn, you're right. We can't beat that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Will, fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful news this evening.
Anytime.
All right, this will be the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
Don't worry, we got lots of shows still ahead. Moses lifts our spirits. We examine the Packers. But coming up in the second quarter, after this break, we look back at last week's game in St. Louis. Remember, you're listening and watching the 12th Man Fan Jam show. Why not? We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Yes, welcome to the second quarter as we take a look back at last week's Rams game. Remember, join our 12th Man Fan Jam show group on Facebook. Email us at 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com and Seahawk Positivity on Twitter. What is that? Twitter? I don't know.
Not Twatter. That's something entirely different.
Yeah, social
don't,
media.
Don't look that up.
No, social media. Second quarter brought to you by our sponsor, the Green Bay, Wisconsin cheese. That's right. Green Bay, Wisconsin cheese. For the cheese that seems to taste great at first, but then leaves nothing but a really bitter aftertaste at the end. Get Green Bay, Wisconsin cheese. All right. Well, we have come to the part of the show that none of us have looked forward to, but we have to get this through painless as possible. Yes, I know. The game last week, the 34-31 overtime loss of your Seattle Seahawks against the St. Louis Rams. Dustin, what are your overall thoughts about that game from last week?
Well, immediately afterwards, I was pretty salty, as you guys know.
It's true. And, that's all right, Dustin. And Dustin and I kind of got in a war of words a little bit, and I think we were all kind of irritable after that game. I think I was more irritable than he was, but...
it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Obviously.
Yeah. That was like Musburger and Jimmy the Greek.
Pretty much. It was.
Yeah. But, I think overall, after some time to reflect, it was a typical kind of Pete Carroll era Rams game where, it was frustrating at times. At times it was exciting. And it just didn't end the way we wanted it to in the end on the road. The only thing that I thought was really different about it was that the special teams play that really made a difference had nothing to do with St. Louis's strategy. So It was kind of what you expect almost, except for you'd hope for a better result, in all honesty.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Mark, what were your thoughts on the game overall?
Well, a quick background for me. One, I had to work that morning, and then I had a memorial to go to.
Oh,
and so I caught most of it on the radio. it is just, obviously it was beyond frustrating. I mean, once I get around to the positives, I love how we showed that familiar resiliency and battling back and 18 fourth quarter points. And I'm just sitting in my car and we have a 7-point lead. That crowd is dead. And I'm just like, okay, defense, just keep him out of the end zone. I'm not asking you for too much. And sure enough, what happened. And then the kick, and then we didn't know at the time that it was supposed to be some kind of squib. The thing that just killed me at the end is you kick it deep and you let your special teams do their job. You show faith in the defense and hoping they can, hold them to a, 3 and out and create win the field position battle. So you hold them to nothing. We get the ball, and then if we kick a field goal, we win the game. But
Sure.
you know what? It was a tough assignment, and the Rams have a very good, probably the best, front 7, front 4, whatever we're going to see all year. So it's tough. And then of course we get scheduled 2 straight road games to open the year. So it was frustrating, but there was still some familiar, resilient, again, battling back, and we put ourselves back into the game, and Tyler Lockett did what he did, and there were positives. It's just frustrating, but I think we have a very good shot this week, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, I think so too. Will, who do you give more credit to this game? Do you give it with Seahawks breaking down, or do you give it more to the Rams playing very well?
Well, obviously, we've got some things to clear up on our end, but I was thinking back to a few years ago. Anytime we would win a game, the whole media spin would be about how the other team lost it.
Right.
And looking at the coverage of this game, we've kind of done a 180 on that. I mean, now we've lost the game, and nobody's given St. Louis credit. I mean, it's all about how we didn't have Cam Chancellor, or we did that kick, or whatnot. But St. Louis, they played a heck of a game. Nick Foles had a really good game. That pass in overtime between Sherman and Thomas was just absolutely sick. Well, it made me sick anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a great throw, and of course, their defensive line was just outstanding. And we could not have had, with the situation we were in, we could not have had a worse matchup for week 1, and we still came close. But more than anything, I just felt so bad for Deion Bailey. I mean, just the one thing you did not want to see, and is exactly what happened. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this kid bounces back this week.
It's interesting that they talked about the turf monster grabbing him when he fell and gave up the game-scoring touchdown. And if you remember, I talked last week about, 4 years ago, Russell's rookie year, when it was a 6-point score. We were down by 6, and the Seahawks were driving. And I mean, they were getting 8 or 10 yards a chunk, and they were down to maybe the 30 roughly, with half a minute, plenty of time left, all our timeouts, and there was no doubt we were going to score. He threw an out route, and I want to say it was to McCoy, but I don't remember for sure. And McCoy tripped and fell on absolutely nothing, like the turf.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Went right into the hands of a defender, and the game was over. And here we are doing that again. And how many of you remember even farther back? And I want to say this was back when we couldn't beat the Rams in St. Louis to save our lives. And late in the game, Bobby Ingram ran a post pattern and ran into the referee. Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2003.
So here we have this whole thing in that stadium where I'm hoping they move to LA, because I think there's some kind of curse going on there.
There has to be a Buffalo Wild Wings close. That's all it is.
Exactly. So let's end on a positive note, Dustin. Give me something you saw that you liked from this game.
Something I liked, Tyler Lockett was as advertised.
Yes.
I mean, that first going into the game, me and my buddies were talking, and they're like, man, he's going to be doing this and that with the return game. And I was like, you know what? After seeing him in the preseason, honestly, what I would do, kickoffs, kick it out of the back of the end zone. I was like, punts, make sure it goes out of bounds. He didn't do that. He took that first one, took it to the house. And I was like, man, this kid's a real deal with that. There's just no two ways about it. And then in the passing game, he had some nice catches, some really nice hand catches where he made some decent plays. So not only is this kid a stud on special teams, but I think he's going to develop into a stud as a wide receiver, and it's showing already, which is a beautiful thing.
I totally agree. Mark, what do you got as far as give us a positive if you can find one?
Well, again, I'll go on the coattails of the good doctor and say that, Tyler, he already, ever since he's arrived, he has like that quote unquote it, apparently he's very studious. He's very comfortable already. It'd be understandable if his first return game, maybe he bobbles a little bit the first kick and picks the wrong lane and he's not trusting his instincts, but the guy just took it to the house. Winning the field position battle, especially on the road, is going to be huge again this week, and hopefully he can, shorten the field for the offense, and hopefully we'll see. I'm really curious how much they work him into the offense coming up, but it looks like we hit really well on a draft pick, and he's got a bright future.
I agree. Well, you got anything besides Lockett for a positive?
Well, the defense, obviously, I mean, they need work, and the players need to do better, and I think Chris Richard needs to work on his game a little bit. But I absolutely loved that corner blitz call after we had tied it up, sent Kerry Williams in untouched, strip sack, takes it in for the touchdown. I just love that, even with all the trouble that we had, that Richard's first instinct was to go for the kill shot.
Yeah.
And by rights, that should have been the game winner. So I think when, there's a lot of issues that we can clear up, even in whose absence. But I think once we do clear that up, I think we're going to have some fun watching this defense again this year.
I totally agree. Now, for me, a negative from the game that I took from the game that we didn't really talk about was it just seemed to be a lot of mental things. Bennett's still lining up off sides,
Yeah.
Kerry Williams looked lost a couple of times. He didn't know where he was supposed to be. A lot of mental lapses, the illegal formation on a punt. I mean, just silly little things. And that bothered me. But something I really like seeing, and I think this is the start of something huge, and we've talked about it all offseason, but it seemed to me like when the camera was on the sidelines, Jimmy Graham and Russell Wilson, Jimmy Graham constantly talking to Russell, telling him, I'm going to do this when this happens. I'm going to do that. They don't get to do that with one or two series in a preseason game. Now they're in the third or fourth quarter, and Jimmy Graham's talking to him, and Russell's talking to him, and he wound up, I think he had one catch in the first half. I think that fourth quarter he had 5 catches alone, maybe. The point is, I think we're going to see that blossom into something really spectacular very, very soon. But I think just as getting this first game under their belts together, Graham and Russell, I think that's going to be a lethal combination still very much. And I think that they're just working well together. I see Jimmy talking to him. I see Russell talking to him. And I think they're getting on the same page. And if they do, it's going to be a really, really dangerous thing for the rest of the NFL.
Yeah. Did you hear Michael Bennett actually address the defensive mishaps?
No.
Did you hear him? Yeah, he equated it to basically a bad marriage. He said basically we weren't communicating. It's like a bad marriage. Nobody's talking. Nobody's on the same page. And he said that's something that's easy to fix, though. He's like, it really wasn't as bad as it looked.
Good.
We just need to get on the same page and talk to each other, and we weren't doing that like we need to. So
I saw a lot of confidence there. I saw a lot of things to build on there, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and something else I think is kind of a positive that's not really, I don't know if people thought about it or not, but we're not going to see a better defensive line than that defensive line was. And so the Seahawks' offensive line, that was their first game with a bunch of new pieces. True. So essentially, the Rams' offense or defensive line probably isn't going to look that good again all year. On the flip side, the Seahawks' offensive line isn't going to look that bad again all year.
Yeah,
they're gonna get better as we go along, and that was the toughest test they're going to see the whole year. So it's only getting better for them from here on out as well.
I totally agree. Let's take a break here. Let's get through this game, and let's go ahead and we do have this week. We have, as we will every week, a caption that picture from week 1. Yes, caption that picture where we, the posse, take a picture grabbed from the week before, either during our game or something coming up during that week. And we put our own caption to it. Now, the caption in that picture this week is this picture. And it's a picture of Russell Wilson and Russell Okung. And Russell has a tablet, and he looks very perplexed, and he's looking at Russell Okung. So this should be an easy one to cover. Dustin, caption that picture.
All right. Hey, you know what I was thinking? Maybe next week we should put blocking in the game plan.
Very nice. Will, caption that picture.
All right, guys, you win. I'll show you the bikini picture that Sierra texted me. Now, would you just please block?
Sorry. Drummer got a little early. All right, there we go. Mark, caption that picture.
Caption. You guys know I'll always love you, right? But I'll love you even more if you block for me for longer than 1.8 seconds.
And finally, caption that picture, Moses. Hey, how come when I Google Russell and Sierra making out, it brings up a picture of you and her?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, see,
Not good. Not good.
Right? We got Russell and Russell there, see? Uh-huh. Okung's got some splaining to do. All right. That brings us to our 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning!
Our 2-minute warnings will consist of the games before and the predictions, the prognostications, and the game balls. So, we will look at that right now. Our predictions are up on the screen for you to see. Of course, we all picked the Seahawks to win, so it was kind of hard to get somebody from that, but we did get Mark as the winner for the prediction. 23-20. He had the smallest margin of victory, and he had both teams over 20 points. Nobody had both teams over 20, so both teams were over 30. So, Mark, congratulations. You get the points for that. Congratulations.
Yes, it's a somewhat somber occasion, but yeah.
Yes, it is. And in our prognostications, everyone did really well on that. I went ahead and gave everybody credit if they said Lockett and touchdown, because you said a kick return or you said a kickoff return for a touchdown. Dustin said Lockett's going to be the first TD of the Seahawks. You guys were, I'm giving it all you. Will's was spectacular because Will said 8 sacks between two teams, and yeah, that's what happened, 6-2. So
I was hoping for more sacks by Seattle's defense. But
yeah, I didn't want to say who was who, but yeah. Matt said 22 penalties. There were only 11, and I said Graham would have 2 touchdowns. He had 1, but that last drive I got excited because I said 8 catches and 2 touchdowns. He had 6 catches and 1 touchdown. I got excited, and he just didn't come through in overtime, but that's all right. So congratulations. Let's see. The winners there would be Andy, Will, Mark, and Dustin. So, and Andy, of course, representing the guests spot from last week. And finally, our game ball. Now, Andy said Sherman, and Sherman wasn't much of a factor. Will said Wagner, and you know I don't really see that one. Mark,
not much of a positive factor anyway.
No, Mark and Matt Lynch, 70 yards, 73 yards, something like that. Dustin said Clark, and he was out there, but he didn't have the impact we thought he would. So by default, my guy at least had a touchdown pass. So I'm going with Graham for 5 catches and 1 touchdown, just because somebody has to have the game ball. So that would be me. So now, as we go into this week's predictions, which will be in the fourth quarter, our score is Mark leads us all with 4 points. The guests, which was Andy last week, Will and Dustin and I all have 3, and poor Matt is scoreless as we go
Good.
into.
Aww.
I know.
He wins trivia too much, so
he does.
I'm glad he doesn't have any points.
He doesn't have any points. So and there's not much of a point to Matt, but we'll go to that later. And now it is halftime.
Ouch, baby.
Ouch, baby.
Holy shit, it's halftime!
Yes, that's the end of the second quarter. We are going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we'll get to church, and we'll have some Seahawk positivity as the Reverend comes in to bless the Seahawks for the Packer game in Green Bay. Remember, you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam, now gluten-free.
Hey, this is Matt, all the way from merry old England, and you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
Welcome to halftime. And as you can hear, the church bells are ringing, which means it is once again time to enter the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity. And time for a game blessing from the Reverend Moses. Take it away, Moses.
Yes, it is I, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity. How is everyone this evening?
Doing well.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear somebody's paying attention. William! It's so good to hear your voice, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, you're still working on that cat collection, I see. I pray for you, my friend. I don't want to see you surrounded by that kind of pussy the rest of your life. It's kind of sad, but I'll pray for you, my friend. Mark, my brave man behind enemy lines, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Reverend.
I'm glad you're doing well. I'm worried about you. A little concerned. You might want to consider wearing a mask when out roaming the streets of sin in California. They have so many terrible diseases out there. There's one you go to take a leak and it just falls off right in the urinal. It's really scary. So please keep your shots uploaded and please keep your mouth closed out there. You might want to wear a mask.
Yeah, I need that and Godspeed.
Yes, and Dustin, sweet little Dustin. It's so glad you made it back to the show. I tried to warn you that you wouldn't be tall enough to ride those carnival rides, but you had to try, didn't you? I understand.
Yeah, I had to. I had to spend the last show in the hospital, so
I was
not available.
Yes, you were not available. Try some lifts next time. I'm saddened by the absence of our friend Matt. I never understand anything he says anyway with that stupid accent, so I guess it's for the best. And listen now, don't fret over the events of last weekend. It was St. Louis. They have to rejoice in the victories of September. God knows they haven't had a victory that meant anything to celebrate in over 10 years, so give them a break. Now, if I may, I would like to get a little church up in here. Oh, friends, it is so good to be back on this wonderful show to share you the glorious power and strength of Seahawk Positivity. And this week I'm joined by my church organist and her band. She is 95 pounds of shaking, quaking goodness. Miss Cleolanda. Cleolanda, honey, why don't you give us some upbeat, happy music so we can get on up for this coming game? Can you do that for me, honey? There she goes. Oh, the whole band's here. Oh, they are hopping and popping, yes. She's got the whole band with her. Honey, okay. That's wonderful, honey. Now, take a break. Oh, don't shake it like that. It's going to fall off. Take a break, honey. Okay, thank you, honey. And listen, keep that band of yours away from the confessionals. I don't want to clean up the mess. Cleolanda would like me to share with you all that her band that just performed just now, Dirty Cleo and the Midnight Dancers, will be performing this week at the Broken Bottle Tavern just outside of town. They will be headlining, and their opening act is a local rap group, I believe, called Little Mo Cray Cray and MC Wiggle Lips. So get there early because it will be packed. I believe, Mark, you have Little Mo Cray Cray and MC Wiggle Lips' last album, do you not?
Somewhere it's buried under dirty laundry.
Understandable. You know, Cleolanda would also like me to tell you all that she and the Women's Auxiliary here from the church, they're having a special booth set up this weekend on Main Street, and they'll be selling hot cocoa, and all the proceeds will be donated to buying a driver for Alden Smith. That man cannot be trusted with heavy machinery. We must find him a driver. Now, just between us gentlemen, and let's face it, boys, nobody's listening anyway. I must warn you, if you go to the hot cocoa stand to see Cleolanda manning the hot cocoa, it might be in your best interest to just get away because she has been known to spike that cocoa with different illegal substances. And last year, she spiked the communion wine, and little Bobby Johnson stayed in a tree howling at the moon for 3 days straight. It was a real shame. He was never able to recover. So be careful. Friends, I'm so glad to be with you on this show as we look forward to this week's matchup against the Packers. And as we gather together, we must continue to remain steadfast and unwavering in our focus to return to the promised land. We must stay looking forward and not dwell on past mistakes. St. Louis just a speed bump on the highway to the promised land. So I ask you, oh great and wondrous posse, I ask the listener if there is one, and I ask all of Seahawk Nation to continue to believe in the power, believe in the strength, and believe in Seahawk Positivity to take us to the promised land. Now, Will, can I get an amen?
Amen.
Oh, Will just does not have the power. I heard an amen from Dustin. I appreciate that. Now, we are all in. We're in for the season. Not just one game. We are in. In with the belief that not one player is more important than the whole team. We are in. In, win or lose, joy or pain, victory or defeat. And believe in the one true power to take us to that promised land. Dustin, can I get an amen nice and loud?
I'm in.
Yes, there it is. Clear line to honey. Get on that piano and play us out. Thank you, sweetie. That's everybody. This has been the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity. Go forth, my brethren, and spread the good word. Praise Largent, praise Cortez, praise Walter Jones, and go Hawks.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so freaking excited.
I think it's supper time.
And now it's time to see what the Reverend Moses has on his menu for this week's game. Moses, what's cooking?
Yes, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity with this week's supper menu. This Sunday during the Seahawks-Packers football game, I encourage all Seahawk fans to eat the following: grilled cheese, cheeseburgers, cheesecake, corn on the Randall Cobb, and some yummy Julius pepper steak. Bon appetit.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Hey, welcome to the second half of episode 310 of your 12th Man Fan Jam show. I am, of course, your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity, and the third quarter is brought to you on this show by the Seattle Seahawks cheese knife. Yes, no longer wait for someone else to cut the cheese. Do it yourself in style with the Seattle Seahawk cheese knife, allowing you to cut the cheese with ease. Seattle Seahawk air freshener sold separately. All right. You just heard Reverend's sermon or blessing at halftime. You also heard what he was serving for dinner for the Packer game. And now it's time to finish it off with a nice little drink in this edition of Drink of the Week. Yes, Drink of the Week, where our 12th Man Fan Jam mixologist Moses, which is me, conjures up a delicious drink based upon the Seahawk opponent. So if you're ready for this, get out a piece of paper, write this down, or maybe you shouldn't. This week I'm taking some green apple schnapps. I'm taking some Crystal Bay flavored water, any flavor. I'm grabbing some Cheese Whiz, and I've got some Crystal Head vodka. So we got green apple schnapps, Crystal Bay water, Cheese Whiz, and Crystal Head vodka, and we're making ourselves a Green Bay cheese head. See how that worked? Dustin, does that not sound delicious?
I'm going to stick with a hawk bomb.
All right, fair enough. The Green Bay cheese head, one drink, and you'll want to wear styrofoam as a hat. 2 drinks of a Green Bay cheese head, and you'll start craving dairy, and 3 drinks, you'll be eyeing every cow in Wisconsin. So, that is your drink of the week. And now a disclaimer. The 12th Man Fan Jam does not advocate drinking or mixing the drinks discussed here. Do so at your own risk. Please be aware that Moses on the 12th Man Fan Jam is not a licensed drinkologist, nor does he pretend to be one, even if he sleeps at a Holiday Inn the night before. In fact, Moses can't make a decent drink ever. Even his milkshakes suck. So does his Kool-Aid. He once mixed root beer schnapps once. Really? What kind of person does that and thinks it's a good idea? So attempt the previous drink at your own risk, and remember that his was done for entertainment purposes only, and always remember to drink responsibly. Okay, this quarter we talk about injury stats and lines for the Seahawks in their upcoming game against the Rams. Usually we talk about Medic Matt, but of course, he's not here for this show, so we're going to go with Dr. Dustin. Dr. Dustin, what's one key injury in the Seahawk-Packer game coming up?
Well, I think this injury in this game, it has to be pretty obvious, and the injury's been there for a while. It's got to be the absence of Jordy Nelson due to his knee injury. That guy is out for the season. We won't see him this week, and I think that's unfortunately, I mean, I hate to say it's a good thing, but for the Seahawks it is with this new kind of revamped secondary, I'll call it. I think having a safety blanket like Jordy Nelson not being on the field is something that's going to be a positive for our Seahawks.
I agree. Big loss, Will?
Oh, definitely a big loss. I mean, that's Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. He still got Randall Cobb. James Jones came back. But anytime you have a player of Nelson's caliber who's not going to be playing, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt him.
I definitely agree. Mark, they put up 31 points against the Bears last week. Did they miss him last week, or do you think that Rodgers will be able to recoup rather well without Jordy Nelson?
Well, if anybody can, it's Rodgers. They're going to miss him all year, and the Bears, I believe, were leading at halftime. So I don't know if that happens with Jordy in the game.
Yeah, they didn't really pull away from the Bears very much. I think in the fourth quarter it was still a close game for a while, and they kind of struggled. I'll be honest, they kind of struggled. Of course, Chicago and Green Bay is another one of those great rivalries. In my opinion, honestly, the best rivalry in football of all time is Green Bay and Chicago. It seems like no matter what the score is, those two go at each other, and it's just a lot of fun to watch if you're a football fan. So I'm not really surprised that they didn't blow out Chicago, but I don't think, I don't know, they kind of struggled. Of course, they were at Chicago, and it was a home opener for Chicago, so I guess that would explain a little bit. But yeah, they didn't really pull away from them. Mark, what is one key stat for the Seahawk-Packer game coming up this Sunday night?
Well, I suspect whoever has the most points at the end of the fourth quarter will probably win this football game.
What? No.
That is crazy.
The man is deep.
And, I always overlook a lot of interesting things and come up with this. But you know what? I think the stat, the number that's key is 30. And I think we're going to have to score 30 points to win this game.
Ooh. Interesting. Do you agree with that, Will? 30 points are going to have to be for us to win this game?
Well, I don't know. I mean, on paper, it looks like it's going to be a shootout, but on paper, last week's game looked like it was going to be a low-scoring defensive struggle, and look what happened there. So it definitely looks that way, but this is one of those games where, honestly, anything could happen.
I agree. Dustin, do we need 30 to win this game?
I'm not going to say we need it, but I would like to have that. So,
yeah, can we have 50 just to be on the safe
Let's
side?
have 50.
Yeah.
It kind of leads into you because you do usually the over, the under, and the point spread for the game. And real quick, we do want a disclaimer at this point that the line given in this game by Dustin and Vegas Night, it does not endorse. We don't endorse betting on anything or any time. These numbers will be presented for entertainment purposes only. Please do not take these or anything we say ever on this show seriously. Okay. That being said, Dustin, Vegas Nights, what is the line in the over-under?
Well, I won't be taking any bets, just throwing that out there as well. So we're not running that kind of show.
No, we are not.
I do. I check out some of the Vegas sites and find out what's going on, and it looks like the average or most reoccurring point spread for this game is 3.5 points. Packers win by 3.5, which is kind of interesting to me because automatically, by virtue of being a home team, you're given 3 points. So They're saying that in Green Bay, the Packers might be half a point better than the Seahawks this week.
Wow. I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. And then the over-under, the most common over-under I saw with looking at the sites was 49 points.
49.
And last week, my gut was telling me to take the under with the point spread because the Rams and Seahawks was a defensive struggle. This week, my gut tells me that 49 points might not be enough. You might want to go with the over. But since that's what my gut's telling me, I'm going to say it's going to be a lower scoring game.
Mark, you take the over-under on 49 points. if you were betting, which you're not, which we are not doing that, but if you were.
Well, I am, and
Damn it!
And my sponsor told me to take the over.
All right. Will, what did your sponsor tell you to do? Over or under?
Well, he told me to quit drinking, actually, but
that is not helpful, sir.
What the hell kind of sponsor you got, man?
But no, like I said, everything points to taking the over, so I'm going to take the under.
Well, I got to look at my score prediction because I'm going to say one thing and it might wind up doing something else, but I think I'm at the over, so I'm going to take the over on that. All right. Well, we've set you up for the game. We've given you a stat. We've given you a drink. We've given you an injury. We've given you the line. And now we're going to give you the end of the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
All right. Let's get ready for the fourth quarter coming up. Our predictions, our prognostications, our game balls for the upcoming game between your Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers. Right after this quick station identification, you are listening and watching to the 12th Man Fan Jam, the cheesiest Seahawks show on the internet. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Every second of it.
And now it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, welcome back to the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam.
What's wrong, Moses?
Oh, I'm sorry, Will. Thanks. I've just been thinking over the break. Seahawk fans are known as 12s, and Packer fans are known as cheeseheads, but sometimes they're known as Packer backers. And I was thinking if a fan of Green Bay was named Jack and he invaded computer servers for a living, and he saw Aaron Rodgers get tackled behind the line of scrimmage from let's say Bobby Wagner from his blind side, and the fan was eating a bunch of pancakes and some ribs while he was watching that, and it made him say something out loud, you maybe could say that Jack, the Packer backer hacker, said ack while eating stacks and racks when his back was sacked from the back.
Dude.
Like some Inception stuff.
Wait.
Is the top going to stop spinning?
Yeah, that's all I got. All right. It's time for...
It also,
he's here all week. Try the
Good
deal.
night, everybody.
Washington now.
Yeah. Any list that we had in the fourth quarter, now gone.
That was like a Talking Heads lyric. I kind of liked it.
This is not my backer. This is not my hacker. It's like bad Dr. Seuss. All right. It's time for our prediction.
For a sack. I can hack him in his back. I don't know.
You're gonna pull your Kong out on him, aren't you? Hacking him from the back. I know you. Getting that sack. Yeah, you got it, Will. All right. Sorry. I do this in fourth quarter because no one listens to this point anyway. So this is the point where we do our predictions, our prognostication, and game balls. We would like you to do the same. So if you join us on 12th Man Fan Jam Facebook page, or you can either email us at 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com or Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. We want your predictions, your prognostications, and your game balls for every game coming up. And on Friday, before that we record, I will pick somebody to represent the guest spot on our predictions. As you see the score here, Mark has 4. The guest spot, Will, Dustin, and I all have 3, and of course Matt has 0. The guest this week that we're going to take the score from is kind of our unofficial 12th Man Fan Jam Facebook page poster, Tom Lucas, who's been on the show, friend of the show for sure. And Tom sent this. He said, my game ball is going to Marshawn, score 28-14 Hawks, and his prognostication is Lynch will run for 150 yards in the second half. So that's what the guests are doing for this week. I would like to lead off with Mark. Mark, if you can give us your prediction, prognostication, and game ball, please.
All right. Well, of course, earlier I mentioned the magical 30 mark, so I'm calling this 31-27 Seahawks. The prognostication is Bobby Wagner will rebound from, boy, I don't know, he didn't have the greatest game last week, let's just say. So I'll say he'll have an interception. And my game ball will go to Richard Sherman.
All right. Very nice. Okay, Will. What you got?
I hate to do this, guys. I really hate to do this.
Oh, no.
Cut him off. Mute his mic. Mic.
Packers 20, Seahawks 17.
Oh, okay.
I think we're going to play a hell of a lot better, but it's just not going to quite be enough. And I'm hoping to be wrong, and it wouldn't surprise me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm going with.
And Will will be a guest from here on out.
Yes, Will.
Will,
it's nice having you on your show. No. What's your prognostication?
Well, Aaron Rodgers has not thrown an interception at home since 2012. That streak will be broken this Sunday, and I think it's going to be Deion Bailey because I think Rodgers is going to try and pick on him, and Bailey's going to bounce back and make him pay for it.
Nice.
And I think Seattle's game ball will go to Russell Wilson, who will have a very good game. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. But Wilson gets the game ball, interception for the prognostication, and you all hate me for the prediction.
Well, now that we're doing scores, you have to get a little more serious about it, There are points afoot, so you have to be a little bit more realistic, I guess. Dustin.
Yes, sir.
What you got for us?
I'm going to go Hawks 27, Packers 21.
Okay.
And I don't know if this counts as a prognostication or not. I'll run it by you guys, and if you boo me, then I'll come up with something else. But the Seahawks, you might want to fact check this, but as far as I know, the Seahawks have won one game in Green Bay ever, 1999.
Boo.
So my prognostication is that the Seahawks will double their win total in Green Bay this week.
Too broad.
Dang it! All right,
you already picked a win.
All right,
I picked the Seahawks to win, and my prognostication is the Seahawks will win.
I worded it way differently.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I swear, that's fantastic, man.
All right, so I did have a backup. And
Marshawn Lynch will run for more than a yard. Is that what you're gonna tell me?
No, I can't make that guarantee.
Oh dear. And you guys thought I was being negative. Wow.
Just playing. But I'm sure, as you guys noticed last week, Richard Sherman started playing out of the slot a little bit, and he's moving around. So, which is a weird thing to me. But I'm going to say Richard Sherman gets his first interception of his career as a slot defensive back this week.
All right. Sherman INT. Who gets the game ball?
I'm going to give it to Russell. I think Russell's going to out-duel Aaron Rodgers.
Wow. All right. Matt sent his in, and I guess next week, Will and Matt can hang out together when we record. Yeah, Matt said, I've got a feeling. And last time he had a feeling and he predicted that the team would lose, they did. So I don't like this feeling. He predicts Seattle 17, Green Bay 24. His prognostication is Wilson will be sacked 8 times in the game. Yikes.
Ouch.
8 times.
Woo! And his game ball goes to Earl Thomas. But it won't be enough to stop the double check of Rodgers. Okay. So that comes down now to me. And I'd like to first start my prediction by congratulating St. Louis for winning a division home game in September. Seeing as it's been over a decade since you won a game in late December that meant anything, congratulations. Meanwhile, the Seahawks leave the cursed grounds of the Edward Jones Dome to play another road game, this time in the hollowed frozen tundra of Green Bay against the Packers, who come into this game media darlings. To unseat the Seattle Seahawks at the top of the NFC, and with good reason. They come upon one sure-handed grab of an onside kick last year to dethroning the champs, and that was with a one-legged Aaron Rodgers. and the Packers are anxious to throw the past couple of meetings away, especially since the Russell Wilson-led Seahawks have never lost to the Green Bay Packers. Of course, the Russell Wilson-led Seahawks have never played in Green Bay either. In fact, the last time, like we said, it was 1999, the first year of a certain Seahawk coach named Mike Holmgren, and it was last century, the last time they went over there, which was 1999. Both these teams had rough starts to the season, although the Packers had a happier ending. While the Seahawks were losing a nail-biter in St. Louis, the Packers were struggling to beat the Bears on the road. Both of these teams have high hopes that this game could once again decide home field advantage for the playoffs, and it just might do that. The Seahawks played a little shaky last week against Rams teams and a great Rams defense. They must play better on both sides of the ball this week, and I truly believe that they will. Watch my game ball recipient, Russell Wilson, which is like the third person to say that. He's going to score a combined 4 touchdowns, running and passing, as I predict Seattle wins 34-30. Whew. All right. Well, gentlemen, looks like it's time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12th Man Fan Jam to a sad close. We are so glad you decided to waste some time with us. It was, as usual, a show that raised the bar here at the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. We certainly hope you laughed a little, and maybe, just maybe, you learned a little something along the way. What did we learn in this episode? Well, we learned Jacksonville still loves me. We learned that Mark's sponsor said take the under. And we learned that Rex Ryan wants to put his Kong in the Gronk.
And we also learned, with your last thing you just said, we also learned that you can have a happy ending in Green Bay.
Yes, you can, apparently. So, on behalf of Statsman Mark, our news hound Shadow Hawk Will, and Dustin as the Beaver, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity saying enjoy the game Sunday night, and as always, go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.